Let's talk about it. Come on and shout it. I talk, you talk, we talk. Women talk life. It ain't no surprise. Baby, you could see if you would open up your eyes. You won't understand if you can't open up your mind. So let's stop wasting time when women talk live.
And welcome to another episode of Women's Talk Live. I'm your girl, April J.
I'm your girl, SassyScribe.
And this is KO Boogie.
All right, y'all. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about femicide. And granted, I don't know a whole lot about this. I did
Neither do
hear a little bit about it from my daughter, but this was something you said, Kim, you kind of came across.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. So there was an article in Advice, which is online. You can check it out, but it dealt with a term called femicide that I actually wasn't aware of what it was. And the more I deep dived into what it actually was, it was really surprising and startling that the US doesn't keep records of this. So what
Mhm.
femicide is, it's
Hold
a
on one
term that was
second. So before we get to that, I just want
Yeah, I
okay.
gonna say we not doing any facts today. Like,
yeah,
Oh
we're gonna
damn,
do
my
some facts.
bad.
No,
what
we
up?
good, We're gonna do some facts today. But hold that, put a pin in that. But we are gonna get into that today. Trust me, this is gonna be
Okay. Okay.
definitely a learning lesson. All right, so getting to our history facts. Now we are all getting into the holidays where you have the Christmas lights and all the decorations and whatever and all the, crap that you put out in the front yard.
Wow.
Which
I'm
in
sorry.
my
I mean,
neighborhood, it's all
my
over the yard. It's
oh my
all over
gosh,
the
my
yard.
neighbors have a whole train set in their front yard.
Oh
It's
wow.
it's gaudy. Oh my god. But
Oh,
anywho, in 1879, Thomas Edison wasn't just lighting up his lab, he was lighting up his imagination. So in December, he unveiled his new, it was kind of like cancidinian or sedinian or whatever,
incandescent.
candescent bulbs at Mellow Park. And this was something that kind of dazzled the crowd who came, to see the future of electricity. So a few years later, Edison's colleague, Edward Johnson, took the holiday spirit one step further and he decorated the New York Christmas tree with red, white, and blue electric bulbs. The very first electric Christmas lights.
Oh, so
So,
that's what we
right. So,
And wasn't Edward Johnson a black man?
yes.
Okay. Just
Um,
throwing out that history fact.
right.
Okay.
So Johnson's, electric tree, it captured public's attention and planted the seed for the modern holiday tradition. And by the mid 20th century, what began as a daring display of inventions had evolved into twinkling lights that define the seasons today. So you see the big light of the New York Christmas tree in Times Square, not Times Square, but at
It is.
the
It is
it's not
Times Square.
it's not in the
Rockefeller
middle.
Center.
It's Rockefeller Center. Yeah, it's not Times
Rockefeller
Square.
Center.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
right.
Rockefeller Center. So that's pretty much the first time, New York Christmas tree with lights.
That is that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So
but
we have a
leave it to the
black
brother to
man.
add the
We have a
color
black
and
man to add some
pizzazz.
color to it. I knew you were gonna say that.
Yes. All right.
All
Cause
that.
he
So
got soul.
right. So moving down into hold on. So with Christmas coming about, of course, you have your traditional wines. People like their beers, their brandy, their variety of alcohol beverages, their liquid joy. Okay? So
Such a joy.
humans probably discovered alcohol completely by accident. Thousands of years ago, no one was brewing or craft ales or aging fine wine. They were just storing grains and fruit. When those foods sat out too long, natural sugars met the airborne yeast, sparkling, fermenting, and creating ethanol, the basis for all alcoholic drinks. And curious early humans and, likely few adventurous animals soon learned that these fermented leftover had surprisingly enjoyable effects. And over time, the happy accident evolved into intentional brewing and wine making, turning chance chemistry into the one of humanity's oldest social traditions.
Oh, it's not
So
prostitution? No, I'm just kidding.
that's probably part of it. But
They
but
got
yes,
drunk and went to the hoe house.
yes, exactly. So alcohol beverages or liquid joy, as I always like to call it, uh, was developed completely by accident.
I'm gonna
Mm,
have some liquid joy after we tape
that's a quick
Oh,
this
accident.
job.
I've been having liquid joy every single day.
It's the holidays. It's
If
the
they say
holidays.
find joy in some part of your day.
Exactly,
What?
exactly.
They
Yeah.
got a little
So,
place up the street from me that they get this eggnog from Scotland, and they only get it this time of year. So I gotta go get me 2 bottles. And I hate eggnog, but this eggnog
yeah.
is absolutely delicious because it has scotch in
I'll
it.
pass that you.
Oh, I have some downstairs in my refrigerator. So,
Yeah.
even though it's been sitting for a year,
Oh hell no.
in the refrigerator, not out, but in the refrigerator. So I don't know.
It
It's been
should be
sitting.
good because
It
it
has
got alcohol
alcohol
in
in
it.
it. That's what I mean. So
It's
I'm
got
like,
alcohol in it.
it has
I
alcohol
would
in it.
try
No.
it.
I never
I would try
opened
it.
it.
Listen
I
to
never
look.
opened
Don't listen to the culinary expert. Listen to me. No, just joke.
it. When it comes to alcohol, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see. I'll taste a little bit
Yeah,
of
you
it
just
just to
take a
see.
little bit of it and
Let us
see.
know.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, it never was open. It's been sitting in my refrigerator for a year.
I mean, I had wine from my Christmas party from last year.
Oh no, wine does not. Yeah,
That's different.
yeah, wine is different. But yeah. So I figured for the holidays, I would come up with some of the things that bring us joy.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right,
Yes.
all right. So let's get into our topic for the day.
Mm, so
So
deep.
you were about to
So
explain to us exactly what femicide is.
Mhm.
yeah, so they're saying that femicide entered the lexicon or in terms of what how we speak or the words that we use in 1976. There was a feminist scholar by the name of Diana Russell who used the term to describe the killing of females by males because they are female. So generally, the US Department of Census will keep a survey of people who like homicide victims, so on and so forth, but there was nothing that definitively linked women who were murdered intentionally based on the fact that it was a gender related killing by men. Um, it's often driven by misogyny or societal norms. And I'll say societal norms because we're looking globally. So we're looking in
Hmm.
terms of societies where women are marginalized and victimized on a regular basis, where you can be beheaded for, looking a man directly in the eye and so on and so forth. But the most startling thing that I found was that the US doesn't necessarily define femicide. It doesn't look at the statistics that are around it. So it's hard to track it. When we looked at statistics in 2021, there were 4,970 female victims who were murdered by intimate partners. Not all, but some were intimate partners. And so it's not just a domestic violence issue. There are men who specifically go out and target women. I forget where it was. I want to say Holland, where the guy killed 3 women and he yelled, I hate feminists when he shot them. Um,
Wow.
so that's what it is like in terms of what it registers. The scary part is when we're looking at the 4,900 or so women who were murdered by men within the United States, there were 85,000 women killed by men in 2023 alone.
What?
That is the number
So
of
so
small
domestic
countries.
does domestic violence, are they like, is that falling under that femicide? It's not
Yes.
two different, it's not two different aspects. So the
No.
femicide and then it branches off to, I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand it. Okay.
So the way femicide is any murder that's done because the woman is a female. So
Mhm.
Like
the man
rape.
doesn't want her to
If you
leave.
die from rape, if you get raped and they
Yeah,
kill you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or if
A
some type
man
of religion, right? Like,
exactly. So a man
okay.
asking a woman out, she says no, like incels, and he kills her. That will fall under there. Domestic violence, that falls under there. But the sad fact is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention tracked murders overall, but they don't differentiate between femicide. So there was a lady, Maria Salguero, who was a data activist, and she built the country's most inclusive, really, database that deals with femicides. And so when she started, she was like, she just wanted to give the women a name and a face. She was
Hmm.
like, because what happened was when the gorilla Harambe was killed because the kid fell into the pit, she was like, there was such an outpouring of justice for Harambe. And she's like, well, what about all the women they were killed? They were like, people were like, we could care about two different things at one time. And she's like, but do we really? Like, nobody addresses statistically the things that happen
Nope.
to women.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Is
she
that the
got more than,
patriarchy we live under though? Is that because we
oh,
live under
definitely.
patriarchy,
Exactly.
whether people
Yeah.
want to admit it or not?
Right.
It's a patriarchy.
It is. It is.
Yes. And it's funny because for us in the United States, we don't capture that information, but we also don't pass legislation to protect women in this country.
No.
It's funny to me
Mm-hmm.
that I found out that those third world shit countries that the conniver and thief speaks about were the ones who were most progressive with women's rights. In 2012, Mexico became one of the first countries in the world to pass legislation codifying femicide. Ecuador, Peru, other Latin countries followed suit, which is really crazy because they're very much misogynistic countries. A lot of machismo, a lot of patriarchal, like you were saying, environments. But
But they
eventually, 30,
also, but I'm sorry, but
no, no,
also
no.
as
I was just
as a
saying,
as a country, and as a culture, these other countries revere women
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
as opposed to the United States. Like, this is your mom, this is your sister. You protect them. They, that is instilled in the men. Now they may still be misogynist, they may still cheat, and they may still like fight you, but to a degree, and I know it's gonna sound crazy to people, there's also a reverence for women in these cultures
mhm,
that we don't have here in
yeah.
America.
Yeah.
Even for the ones that where the men are like when we were talking about honor killings and things of that nature, they have a reverence for women. It's a little skewed, a little
A
I
little.
want to say on the crazy side, but for lack of a better term, but there's still some level of this woman is supposed to be, like you were saying, protected. She's not allowed to speak in the company of men because they look at it as a way of protecting her. They don't necessarily see the control dynamic that's, being played out in that. Um, but it was funny that 30 other countries worldwide adopted similar laws and pledged resources to rooting out the causes of femicide, including misogynistic societal norms and impunity for gender based violence. The United States was not one of them
Are we
at
No.
all.
surprised? Are we
No.
surprised that the United States said we don't care about women when they rolled back Roe versus Wade?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When they've taken
Reproductive rights.
every measure to protect women's rights and women's health care, they've just said, fuck y'all, figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
I'm not
so
shocked.
when you die like that, that could be, I would consider that to be a form of femicide in terms of women who die because of lack of, of protections.
Prenatal
Like,
and postnatal care.
exactly.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's when you talk about other countries, you do, like I said, you do have some religions where um women are, you know, are could be stoned for
mhm,
certain things, acts. Um but then you have other cultures that, are considered, by this country as what shithole countries, as you said.
they're whole
But
countries.
when you
Yep.
go into places like such as Africa, women are celebrated, they are respected, and you don't really see where they are, killing their women, unless, of course,
Unless there's certain tribes that
you
still
have
do
certain
that
tribes,
barbaric
unless,
castration and
they
stuff.
do have, sense where they, where they sew women's vaginas and
Right.
stuff like that, and
Ugh,
do like
the
some type of,
castration.
circumcision, women's circumcision. But a lot of some tribes have stopped doing stuff like that. But when, a couple of the cultures that I came in contact with, um, you know, in some sense, women are considered important to the survival of the tribe,
Okay.
because when the men go out and hunt and, whatever, women are back home preparing the meals, taking care of the children, building the huts that they live in, um, and really pretty much just kind of keeping the village running when, the men go out. Granted, there are men that stay back to protect the women that are there, but it's I think it's just different cultures where, even in Indian, when I was in India, um, women are kind of like, it depends on the status, because you have rich and then you have poor. There's no in between.
Mm-hmm.
So in different situations, women are considered caretakers.
Hmm.
They're not ones, you don't see them really going out and working or whatever, unless they're in upper class. Then you may see women working, but they're considered homebodies. They're considered the caretakers of the women and being taken care of. Um, but I'm not surprised that in our society in America, that,
Hmm.
I think for the most part we are not protected at all.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Um,
Hmm.
and we
I mean,
are.
there.
I mean, you look at. I tell people all the time, when Hollywood comes up with these movies, pay attention, because you have that one show, Handmaiden. Don't think for a second that's
They're trying
not
to put
where
it in the
they
works. I
want us
mean,
to be.
they're trying to do it already when you have a group of men in power thinking about doing away with not only our civil rights, and then let's just make it real clear to all of you motherfuckers that come over from other countries and then want to assimilate with the non-melanated. Thank the
Mm-hmm.
melanated class for the
Mm-hmm.
civil rights that you have when you
Right.
get here,
Right.
first and foremost. Okay, but then you have these other I don't white men in power who want to do away with taking away the women's right to vote. And white women,
Mm-hmm.
53% of you motherfuckers in 2016
Is
and
giving it
2020
away.
and 2024 triple trumped
Yeah.
to vote for this bullshit. And
Right.
now all of a sudden you're trying to figure out what happened. What happened to women's rights? No one cares about women. No one loves women. Bitch, you didn't fucking care about women.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Right.
Ooh, I'm a
Right.
woosah.
Oh,
The holidays.
um,
I'm gonna have joy later.
Yes.
yeah,
Liquid joy. Liquid
yes, we are.
joy.
But I'm just saying,
But
people get mad at
with
the situations that we're in related to women when women overwhelmingly voted for this shit and now are shocked and in awe and surprised that it's
not
actually
all women,
happening.
a certain demographic of women who
White
are
women,
it's
53%
not
of white
entitled.
it's
women. I'm gonna
not
talk
just
about the
white
ones
women.
that voted for them.
It's not just white women. You had a lot of
But oh,
Hispanic women
Spanish
who
women.
okay.
voted.
Hmm.
And now they're being deported. So it's like,
Oh,
okay,
really?
yeah. So I mean, what's crazy? Was crazy. And when I was watching the news when they were talking about the Haitian community, and they had a couple of Haitians on there that voted for Trump. They
I'm not
voted for them.
surprised.
And
I'm not surprised
it's like, okay,
Me either.
you didn't like, for what reason?
because they're
This
not
man
black.
has never
We gotta
liked black
understand.
people.
We gotta understand. Blacks from other countries, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, they don't look at themselves as black. They're Nigerian. They're Ghanaian.
No, I understand.
They're from like Cameroon. They're
I got
not
that. But they got
they're
a
not black.
healthy
But when you come
dose.
to America, your ass is an N-word to
It
them.
is. It is.
But
But
then you
they
still
did
have
not.
to understand that society and the media still portray us as certain types to other people. So when they
Yes, they
come over
do.
here, they have no understanding of our culture. They have no understanding of the diaspora of Black people within the United States. They don't understand the history of how we got here because that's not given to them. So
No,
when you're seeing if you only see the negative, when it's only, with the whole black
us
on
being
black crime narrative,
savages.
so
Yep.
on and so forth, I would be a little concerned if I were around people that I was taught my whole life that I should be afraid of. But what I did want to mention about the femicide is that in 2016, there was a lady, Dawn Wilcox, she did a database. She built a database called Women Count USA because, like I said before, there was really nothing in the US that even listed the types of ways that women were murdered and by whom. And so she
Okay.
started by doing, she wanted to have a face and a name with the women who were murdered to really give them dignity after death and to talk about how they were murdered. So she did fields like an Excel spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first comprehensive database of all women and girls murdered by men and boys in the US, and it went from 1950 to the present. And it grew to over 35 fields. When I went to this site and looked at the database, it was so, I get chills when I think about it. It was so comprehensive. And what they're trying to do is to challenge the victim, blaming. Anytime something happens to women, rape, murder, whatever, it's what was she wearing? What was she doing? Why didn't she leave? So on and so forth. It's always about the victim and what she did or didn't do that, contributed to her demise. Um,
That's
but
why women say they trust the bear.
yeah, exactly.
They trust
Exactly.
if they were alone in the woods, would you trust the man or the bear? And
The
overwhelmingly,
bear.
99% of the women pick the bear.
Well, I
So
mean,
when
look.
you look at the database, it has pictures of the women. It has their ages. It has the men who murdered them. It has pictures of the men who murdered them. It has the type of relationship they had. It was if it were multiple, like a guy killed, his wife and daughter. Both women are listed. It shows his face. They even went so far to try to humanize the victims that when they didn't get information, online, they would pull
Hmm.
from the obituary to talk about who these women were in real life. And it's in this database. So when you see somebody who's like, I think the little girl's name that I watched was Janiyah Lewis. She was 14. She was murdered by her father. Um, but it had pictures of her in school and, parts of her obituary that talked about the little girl that she was. And then, it listed her mom and so on and so forth. But that information needs to be publicized. And if you look at the dynamic and the demographic of the women who were murdered, women of color vastly outnumber women of non-color. So when you're
Well,
looking at
that's what I don't
statistics,
see on the first 48 and Snap. I'm just joking.
but that's the point.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it
I mean,
doesn't
on
because of
read.
the
Snap,
fact
all I
that
see
it's
is
not
white men tripping and putting wives
Well,
in wood chips and barrels
just
and shit.
recently with the guy who was convicted of murdering his wife, Brian Walsh. He was convicted of murdering his wife. They never found her body. But he tried to say, "Oh, she was dead when I went into the bedroom." But instead of him calling 911 to come and find out, he cuts her up and disposes of her. And
damn.
he was just convicted of first degree murder. They never found her body. I think
So
her
he
name
was
is Anna
convicted
Walsh.
without a body.
He was convicted
That was
without
a
a body
damn good
because
lawyer.
it was just like it was just like, okay, you're sitting on, and then he was saying that, everything was fine, but, of course, her best friend gets on the stand and whatever, saying that, they weren't happy. But the fact remains is that you find your wife in the bedroom dead. She said she went to bed and said she was tired, and he cleaned the kitchen, and he said when he went in his room, she was dead. When he went in their room, she was dead. And instead of saying, hey, okay, let me call 911, my wife is non-responsive, he cuts
Cut
her
her
up
up.
and disposes of her. And then here's the kicker. The reason why they got him was because he did a search on, can you be convicted if they do not find
Without a body.
find a body? Or
Don't
here's
I'm
the
telling
real
you, the
one.
internet has gotten people locked up for dumb shit.
And here's another one. He also puts on there something to the fact where oh my gosh, what was another search? It was one, if you be convicted if they don't have a body, and then another one was um it was something to a fact of how to murder or whatever. I don't know, I can't remember, but that's how they got him, from searches he did on his computer. So
So many.
I'm gonna tell people like this: you can sit up here, and I was told from my girlfriend who actually works for Homeland Security and top secret whatever. She was just like, y'all can sit up here and say and erase stuff off of your computer if you want
Nothing
to.
is ever erased.
Nothing would never
Nothing.
goes away, even if you erase your browser history, delete this out. She said it's always somewhere out there, and if
Mhm.
you do something and you search it, they can find it.
Yep.
Well, look at all them naked pictures I done deleted.
Don't feel bad.
We all got them. We all got them. I know I delete them. I put them in secure folders, but it
and,
ain't never really secure.
and then, hey, listen, people got these clouds. I mean, I
Yes,
have
they
clouds
do.
all over. I
I
mean,
have
stuff.
clouds all over. God,
Yeah,
how many clouds do I have?
I can put something on my laptop and it automatically goes to my
Go in my
iMac, my
cloud.
phone,
Yep.
and my iPad. So it's like, and I'm like, maybe I should do this, but it's like sometimes I can't find stuff. So if I have whatever I have with me, I know it's in the cloud. I can pull it out. But yeah, so it's crazy that you have.
A lot of women are sleeping with the enemy and don't even realize they're
Yeah,
sleeping with the enemy. That's
that's
the
true.
Yep.
sad part. That's the sad part.
Yep.
And you have like
And not protected.
I've been listening to a lot of different like podcasts, and a lot of them deal with domestic violence, right? It's all fictional. Let me put that caveat out there. But it all deals with domestic violence, and the overwhelming plot theme of all of these podcasts that I listen to, or these book talks that I'm listening to, is that the women are told to figure it out. He's a good man. What did you do?
Mm-hmm.
It could have been your fault. Try not to make him mad. They're putting all of the onus is on the woman with no fucking accountability for the men whatsoever. And then, of course, Captain Saberho comes in, saves the woman, and destroys the man.
Yeah.
And it
Hmm.
all turns into this happy ending love story at the end. But that overwhelming premise of you need it's on you, you're the woman, make him feel that it's all of that
Yeah.
coddling
Right.
to his ego.
Right. Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, ladies, you better get something, crush some ice up or
Or,
something.
or get some hot grits.
I
Oh.
said ice. I meant,
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean,
look like
and I
ice.
often I tell, and I have two daughters. So one thing I tell my daughters all the time: if he puts his hand on you
That's it.
one time,
That's it.
that's your moment to get your shit and leave, because that's not going to be the last time he puts your
Nope.
hands on you.
Nope.
I said,
Nope.
if in the event that he calls you out of your name or disrespects you in any type of way, that's when you need to start reevaluating your relationship, and do you want to put up with this bullshit? because it's not
and
going to be the last time.
and trying to isolate you from your loved ones,
Exactly.
telling you shit like your mom is trying to control you, your friends are in your business, they're not good for you. All of that bullshit. Those are the red flags.
Right. And
And then the
listen,
overwhelming remorse afterwards.
right. Yeah.
Nah.
And
Mm-mm,
listen,
Hmm.
and
mm-mm.
listen, and I'm going to say this, and please, I don't send me no hate mail because I don't give a shit. But same sex, same problems. Let's be
Yep.
clear.
Hey, hey,
Yep.
hey.
because
Women stop fooling with men thinking it's easy. I heard women are harder than men.
women will isolate you fast. And I've heard this from a woman that I know, that she's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
strictly gay, and
Mm-hmm.
she says that's one thing that they do. She said, because I've done it.
Mm.
Hey,
So it's like, when you start seeing signs and you start feeling something in your spirit ain't right, you better trust it.
pay
You
attention
better
to it.
trust it.
Pay attention
So
to it.
yeah,
Whew. Wow.
exactly. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Kim. This was a very
This
informative topic,
was.
Kim.
It
I
definitely
really
was.
appreciate you bringing it to us
Yeah, definitely.
because I didn't know anything about it until I
Me
started reading
either.
your notes and stuff.
Me
So
either.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
And
really got
we're
to start taking up for ourselves, especially with this administration and this environment. If women don't take the time to actually look at the narrative and change the narrative for themselves, like nobody's going to do it for us. And it's so
yeah.
Nope.
scary the number of women who are considered disposable, because even from the missing and exploited, there's never, and we've known this for decades, there's never any initiative or effort put towards finding women of color.
Mm.
Never.
It's always the blonde, blue-eyed, person who
Mm-hmm.
receives the media attention.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't get our shit together, that database of, is going to double. So
So where is this database located?
it's called Women Count USA.
Women Count USA. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Very, very comprehensive. You will get lost. And it goes back to the 1950s. And when I say comprehensive, everything. It really brings the victims to life in terms of, and it talks about what they endured and, who they were, not just how they died.
Oh,
So the
wow.
database, and it's you can put your information in, so you can
Okay.
update, because
Gotcha.
you got women from all over the world who are doing the same thing and updating information.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. Wow. All right.
That's awesome.
Mm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's all
It's
the
just it's
above.
just it's just I mean, it's just crazy that you have stuff like this. It's just it really is. It's
Yep.
sad, it's crazy, it's ugh. All right.
Okay.
So our last week, well, yeah, week before poll, we talked about loneliness, social media, AI. So our question was, has the rise of social media and AI contribute to loneliness in society? And according to a poll, 30% of American adults feel lonely at least once a week. And most say technology helps them form and maintain relationships, even as many whether those are relationships are meaningful or not.
Wow.
30% feel like they say they feel lonely at least once a day. That's crazy. And it also found that people spend at least 2 hours per day on social media. 2 hours per
My
day.
phone told me that I spent more time last week than I did this week. And I was like,
Oh yeah, my phone does that too.
I
But I'm
need
not on.
to I
I
need to
really,
control it. I need to
I'm
control it.
rarely on social media. I don't really. If I'm on social media, it's because I'm just like I don't know, and I ain't even on there long. So
Right.
yeah. All right. So this week's poll is: how serious of a problem do you think femicide, the gender-related killing of women and girls, is in the United States today?
That'll be an interesting poll. That'll
That's
be an interesting poll.
And check out Women Count USA before you actually answer that question.
yeah. I
Yeah.
actually just pulled it up, and I see where it kind of lists in categories. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. All right. All right. So our final thought of today is, have you ever noticed that Soup for One is 8 aisles away from Party Mix? Who knew?
Oh my
Who
God.
knew? Who knew?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Soup for One, party mix right there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right, y'all.
Ooh,
All right, so we're gonna end it there. This is
yes.
Women's Talk Live over nights with your girl April J.
I'm your girl, SassyScribe.
And this is KO Boogie.
All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Women talk live.